game last night at Chesapeake Arena. If there were questions out there, would this fan base be able to bring the energy like they did last year at playoff time? I think those questions were answered last night.
That was a great game, wasn't it?
That was an outstanding game.
Yes and no. I mean, eventful, I would say no, Darnell, but I mean, a big-time win, yes it was. But was it entertaining from a good game standpoint? Not so much. I found more entertainment out of the dog show at halftime.
Hey, you don't have to tell me about those dogs. I've been on those dogs bandwagon since, I believe, mid-November when we went out to Atlanta, and I saw them perform at halftime at a Hawks game. Those are some impressive dogs, man. When you get a dog to walk on its hind legs and jump rope, I mean, that's an impressive dog.
I couldn't believe the two-leg jump, broad jump over the hurdles. When I saw that last night, I did the double take. I couldn't believe what I saw. I don't know. That's some impressive training to get an animal to do that. But, you know, the athleticism from the dog should be applauded as well.
I like what our man Barry Trumbull said. He said if you teach them to shoot free throws, they could compete with 2 or 3 teams in the Eastern Conference.
There's no doubt about it. That's pretty good. So what's more likely to happen in this thing, Darnell? 3 more games exactly like Game 1, or a Rocket rally to steal a couple of games?
I think it's probably going to be closer to what we saw in Game 1. If you look at, you know, the Rockets roster, they don't really have much help for James Harden. You know, we talked about Chandler Parsons before. I love his game, but he got in some early foul trouble, had to sit the final 10 minutes of the second period. And without him, I mean, you're really reliant on Jeremy Lin and guys like Carlos Delfino and Francisco Garcia. I mean, it's basically just a hodgepodge of journeymen who really have been role players throughout their careers. And James Harden can't do it all. So if the Rockets aren't making shots and the Thunder's locked in defensively, I think we're going to see probably 3 more games closer to what we saw last night.
You're right. Harden can't do it all, and we saw last night how good Cephalosha was on him. Harden goes 6 of 19, 1 of 6 from 3-point range. I mean, you got to call that a lockdown right there. So for the Rockets, what's the next matchup that they can even try remotely to gain from?
Well, I think they got to keep their guys out of foul trouble. That's the first thing, and not only Parsons, but Omar Asik. I mean, he also picked up his 3rd foul in the last 4 minutes of the second. He's not a supremely talented offensive player, but what he does in terms of on the offensive glass and setting really hard screens to free up shooters like James Harden and Jeremy Lamb in the pick and roll, he's able to get guys some space. And when they can use his ball screens and turn the corner and either come off with some shooting space or some room to get to the basket and make a play, that really helps out the Rockets' offense. So they've got to keep him on the floor as well.
Darnell, you know, you're talking about that Thunder defense last night. What was the biggest key? I mean, was it just energy? What was it what they were trying to do? Because they were locked down, man. It was inside. They were packing the paint, 9 block shots, great on the perimeter, held a good 3-point shooting team to 22% from behind the arc. So what was the real key last night to such a great defensive effort?
Well, they played a near flawless game defensively. I mean, every key that you could imagine the Thunder needing to basically execute, they did. They defended the 3-point line. They got back in transition. They clogged the paint. They really shut off James Harden's airspace and made him play in a crowd and see multiple defenders. So they played a fantastic game defensively. The question is whether or not they're going to be able to sustain that. You know, the Houston Rockets were 2nd in the league in scoring, a 10th off from leading the league in scoring, and they did that for a reason. I mean, they're more than capable of getting hot in a hurry. And if they do that, it could be a long night for the Thunder. So you got to make sure that you continue to be locked in for 48 minutes. I think a lot of it was the crowd, you know, the emotions of playing against former teammate James Harden. The Thunder really came out juiced for that game, you could tell, and I think that carried them to that big 13-2 start. The inexperience of the Rockets didn't help them. They were really nervous. Kevin McHale said it numerous times after the game, and even today when he met with the media. So I think all of those factors really just helped the Thunder lock in defensively and put together a really solid performance.
Darnell, there's no question. James Harden, whenever he was here at the Oklahoma City Thunder, tons of fans, a fan favorite. My wife was a James Harden fan, but then he gets traded, and he's been booed. He was booed last night throughout the game. Is the Harden Love Fest officially over?
I think so. You obviously are going to have some of those fans who still love him, who still appreciate everything that he did for this team. But for the most part, I think more and more fans are starting to realize that, no, he wasn't just traded. The Thunder made him a very lucrative offer, one that he turned down and felt like, not that he was better than, but just that he could go out and get something better. And sure enough, he did. So he turned down a good thing, a great thing, for a good thing down there. And now he has to be the man. So I think more and more fans are starting to realize that and really just kind of take exception to how he handled the whole situation. If you go back, he said time and time again that he was willing to sacrifice and do whatever it took to stick around. And if that meant taking less money, continue to be the sixth man, he said that he was all for it. And then all of a sudden, negotiations dragged out, and it started to come out that he was, really wanting to be the man and be the franchise player, be a max player guy. So I think more and more fans are starting to realize that, and I think they're holding it against him.
Darnell, and whether it was a choice or whatever it was, the Thunder did sign Serge Ibaka before they were able to get a deal done with Harden. I don't know if it was a choice amongst them of who they were going to sign or how it all worked out, but they did stick with Serge Ibaka. He's still here, and boy, we've been talking about this since the beginning of the season. Might be the most important guy in the NBA. He's got to up his play, and boy, if last night was an indicator of how Serge is going to play throughout these playoffs, loved him on the boards last night, loved him his offensive game. Obviously, you know what you're going to get from him defensively. Serge Ibaka took his game to the next level last night. I thought he was sensational.
Yeah, he was, and he set the tone. His block shot on James just a few minutes into the game. It was a message-sending block. I think that really ignited the crowd, ignited his teammates, and really just sent a message to the Rockets that, nothing's going to be easy tonight. And not only his defense, but his offense. I mean, he was hitting his jumpers. He was making nice post moves. He even hit a corner three-pointer. I mean, he was shooting with confidence. And now, when Serge Ibaka's playing like that, you already have, if you're the Houston Rockets, an extremely tough matchup with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. And now Serge Ibaka is just a third guy who you have to find a way to limit. And I don't think that they're going to be able to do that. Greg Smith is a guy who is really basically a rookie in this league and hasn't played much. So I don't think he has the experience or the talent to be able to keep up with Serge, and this could be a big series for Ibaka.
This is Thunder Cover with NewsOK.com and the Oklahomans' Darnell Mayberry, Oklahoma City Thunder beat writer. Nobody covers the team is with them as much as Darnell, therefore nobody talks about them as well as Darnell. More of that to come when we get back. We're hanging out today at Buy for Less in Norman, 2501 East Lindsay, here for the Corona Light Rush Tour. You're listening to the Sports Talk Network.
I said, no, sir, I got a little bit of time to go.
Welcome back. 18 minutes past the hour. It's hour number 4. Beautiful day. Monday, April the 22nd. Teddy Lehman to my left. Dusty Dvorak sitting right here. Drake Dykin back in studio. We're at Buy for Less today. When you buy for less, you get more. Here for the Corona Light Rush Tour, 2501 East Lindsay, right here in Norman, corner of 12th and Lindsay. We've got some great Corona giveaways, great deals on Corona Light, 12-packs and 24-pack of bottles. Come by, check us out. Buy for less right here in Norman, 2501 East Lindsay. Let's get back to Thunder Cover with the NewsOK.com and the Oklahomans. Darnell Mayberry, Oklahoma City Thunder beat writer. Darnell, just seemed like everything was going in last night for Thunder and Thunder fans, and we saw last night the third time this season, another half-court shot goes in, $20,000 basket. What's that do for Chesapeake Arena when that happens?
Well, it obviously pumps up the fans even more. Not that they need it. It's an amazing shot. I don't know what the chances of those things going in are, but that's been 3 now since the start of March. And Mid-First has got to be scratching their heads, really probably trying to rethink this promotion and figure out if there's something different they can do, because that's $60,000 now that they've given away this season.
I like it, man. I like people making that money on that shot. Gets everyone involved. I think it's fun. You saw the guy running around last night. You with what you see on ESPN with LeBron James going out there and dogpiling a guy. Then KD did it earlier in the season. I think the guy had played it up in his mind. If he made it, there was going to be a big dogpile by the team, and it just didn't come. I don't know if they were busy in a huddle or what happened. They just didn't. It wasn't there, and he went looking for it. It was pretty funny.
Now, what do you guys think of that? Because I don't like it. I think that those guys need to leave the players alone.
I think they should. You know, on the last KD one, it seems like KD almost went after him. No, I agree. He went for the huddle last night, and I'm thinking, this is playoff basketball.
Right.
And you better get away from Serge Ibaka, because Serge Ibaka is not a man to be messed with at this moment in time. I got to be honest, Darnell, I don't like it. If there would have ever been, I think they do stuff during NFL games. Field goal or whatever. I mean, I couldn't even imagine that guy coming over and looking for a high five. I could care less, especially in a game. It's playoff basketball. Everybody's locked into their craft and to what they're supposed to do. The last thing they want is a fan coming up to them and trying to get their attention.
Well, the difference is all of a sudden, whenever things ramp up in the playoffs, say Kevin Durant or Russell Westbrook, the guy made the shot there at the half court, and they go out there, they dogpile him. It's fun. They're in the celebration. And then from that point on, they go out there and their focus isn't there. They turn the ball over, come down the stretch and lose a playoff basketball game. You're just going to have a reason for people to be able to point fingers and say, look at you guys here. You're out there celebrating, having fun. You're not locked in. You're not focused. This game doesn't mean enough to you.
No doubt about it. And the other thing is, what if someone gets hurt? If a player sprains an ankle or something like that, or, God forbid, breaks a limb or anything like that in a dog pile. I mean, that's just dangerous. I don't think the player should be involved in that. But it's one thing if, Kevin Durant or someone runs out there. It's another thing entirely for the fan to run over to the bench. I think that's just dangerous and out of line. And if you remember, if you saw it, Rumble was actually the person that had to go out and get the fan and kind of bear hug him and bring him back to half court. So I don't think that, that should be allowed. And I wonder if at some point the Thunder is going to have to take measures to stop that.
That's what I was just about to say, Darnell. I wonder if after last night you probably saw, I'm sure Scott Brooks said, okay, enough's enough. You wonder if maybe security will go out there, or they at least inform the people, the contestants, okay, if somehow you make this shot, you win the $20,000. I know you're excited. Go away from the basketball team.
Well, they'll probably tell them, if you make the shot, we'll give you the $20,000. You can come in the locker room after the game and say hi to the guys. Instead of
I like that
running
idea.
over there, barging into a playoff huddle. And, you're right. I think you're right, though, Dusty. Serge Ibaka, you're not so
don't
sure.
Mess with, dude, don't listen. Don't
who was
mess
that
with
he
Serge.
grabbed that one game?
Who doesn't he grab? He just, listen, I don't know if Serge understands how strong and how physical a guy he is at times.
It was Mike Dunleavy.
That's exactly what it was.
Last year.
That's right.
And Dunleavy, I mean, you could just see the look on Ibaka's face when he grabbed him. I was just thinking, boy, Michael Dunleavy might have bit off a little bit more than he can chew in this one.
For sure.
Hey, Darnell, I wanted to get your take. We've been talking about it today, but, Russell Westbrook, last night, the 19 points, the 10 assists, the 8 rebounds, doesn't even really play much at all in the fourth quarter. 2 rebounds away from a triple-double. His performance on the defensive end as well really, really, really gave Jeremy Lin a lot of fits. I know it's his first playoff game, but you got to give Russ the credit. Talk about his performance, not just in this one game, but, since the All-Star break, one of the premier players in this league.
Yeah, I don't know the numbers. I don't have them in front of me, but like you're right, since the All-Star break and really since the start of February, maybe even January, the guy has been phenomenal. He's scoring more efficiently than he was earlier in the year. He's rebounding well, one of the best rebounding guards in the league. And then he's getting his teammates involved still. So I think he's growing up. I think all those stories that we've heard about, read about, Russell Westbrook maybe losing his cool and being a little too emotional on the court, those days are starting to become few and far between. And I think he's really handled himself well. And now when the stakes are highest, he's really showing that he can really be in control of himself and get his team into positions to succeed by being the leader. So I'm really impressed with what Russell Westbrook is doing right now. I think he's, in my opinion, guys, he's probably the MVP of this team in the second half of the season. That's how good I think he's been playing.
I think he's been outstanding. I mean, the numbers, the points, the scoring, the assists are up, the rebounding. What he does for rebounding for a guard is outstanding, much less a point guard. The number of rebounds he gets per game, he's getting more guys involved. I think he's been outstanding. In my opinion, a lot of people are big Chris Paul fans, I think, because he's a little closer to a traditional type of point guard. But I think, I couldn't take anyone else over Russell Westbrook at the point guard position in the NBA right now. I just couldn't.
Yeah, with his athleticism, it's hard, and his durability. The guy has never missed a game. High school, college, pros. He just shows up to play every night. We were joking with Scott Brooks about whether or not he was going to sit him in that last game against Milwaukee in the regular season like he did Kevin Durant and a couple of the other guys. Russell Westbrook, they were having fun with it. We asked if it would be a fist fight between those two if Scott Brooks asked him. And Russ just kind of rolled his eyes like, nah, it wouldn't be a fist fight, but Scotty wouldn't ask me that. So he knows, everyone knows Russell Westbrook's not going to sit down. And you have to admire that in this day and age, especially because guys will sit down and protect themselves from injury and not go out there and play hurt and give it all just because it's such a long season and they got to play so hard and for so for so long throughout the year. But Russell Westbrook just comes up, shows up every night and gives all he has. You got to admire that.
I think sorry, Justin, I was going to say, I think what's most impressive about what Russell does is, the streak he has going in itself is outstanding, and it's really impressive. But the style of play, it's not like he's a guy that just hangs out at the three-point line, drops a couple of threes here and there, plays some perimeter.
Ferocious at the rim.
It's ferocious. It's super aggressive. He's crashing to the ground. He's physical on defense. He's banging in and out of screens. I mean, it's really amazing when you look at the style of play that he brings.
No doubt about it. I mean, there's only one other guy in the league like that, and this guy just missed the whole season. That's Derrick Rose. At some point, just
that's scary.
Conventional wisdom says that the guy's going to miss some games or get hurt and banged up at some point, but it just doesn't happen. That's why my nickname for him is Wolverine, because whenever you think that he's hurt, he just heals and comes right back and continues to give 100%. I mean, the guy is phenomenal.
I like that, Wolverine. That's Wolverine's the man. I asked this to Ted earlier, and not that there needs to be an answer. It really matters. I don't think either one of them care. But does it ever get to a point 2-3 years down the road, Russ continues this and continues to play so well at that position that people start looking at this and saying, There's an actual debate. Who's the best player on the Oklahoma City Thunder? Is it Russell Westbrook or is it Kevin Durant? I think if you ask people right now, it's a foregone conclusion. It's Kevin Durant's team. Kevin Durant's the best player. But do we ever get to a point where it is a question and people do have to kind of debate this?
I think a small segment might already be there. It might sound strange, but I think the way Russell Westbrook attacks, people feel like he has that Jordan mentality where he's just going to be relentless and continue to put pressure on you for 48 minutes, whereas Kevin Durant's going to kind of take it easy on you and ease his way into the game, things like that. And I think people really respect that about Russell and would like to see that more out of Kevin Durant. Now, I don't think there's any question which of the two is the most talented. Kevin Durant obviously is the most talented, but athletically, Russell Westbrook is a cut above, and I think between his athleticism and his relentless nature, that just gives him that edge in terms of what he's able to do on a basketball court for 48 minutes. But that's a good question, guys. I really don't know. I think at some point maybe, Russell Westbrook – someone asked me a question earlier this season whether or not Russ could lead this team in scoring, and I thought, no way, no how. But then we saw him come out this year, and for probably the first month or two, Russell Westbrook was really scoring more than Kevin, and you kind of had the question, is he going to be this team's leading scorer? So I'm at the point now where I don't feel like that's out of the question.
Well, here's one of the things, Darnell, is when you look at Westbrook and where he stacks up with the other point guards in the league, you look at some of those guys. Chris Paul has a couple of guys down low where he gets easy assists from those guys, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan. And so I think Westbrook is going to get, his numbers are going to get so much better because he's so tied with Serge Ibaka, and we've only seen Serge continue to improve, still 23 years old. I think Ibaka is going to get better and better, easier and easier assists for Russell Westbrook. So I think that's a part of his game that's really going to go through the roof is the assist portion.
Yeah, that and his defense. I'd like to see him consistently play solid defense for 48 minutes, whether it's, Revis Vasquez or Chris Paul or Tony Parker, whoever it is. I'd like to see him lock in and really just focus on that end of the court. I think that's his next step that he needs to take in terms of being a complete player. He does it at times, and when he does it, it's amazing to see because, teams really struggle when Russell Westbrook is locked in. Guys, I thought Russell Westbrook's defense on James Harden last night was exceptional. He only played him for, in spurts, but when he was on James Harden, I thought that was some exceptional defense, and he might be the Thunder's best defender for James Harden. I mean, I think that's something that we should watch as this series goes along.
No, I think you're 100% right. Clips Grizz tonight. Clips really stole the show in Game 1 Saturday night. Huge fourth quarter out of Chris Paul and their bunch there. What do you think tonight?
Game 2 in L.A., I would give the edge to the Clippers. Memphis just showed that they can't really make many shots. I mean, and the shooters that they do have, they're not playing a whole lot, and they're not taking shots with confidence. So I would give the edge to the Clippers, but you never know. This could be one of those games where Memphis just buckles down and locks in defensively. If they do that, it could be a long night for the Clippers. But I'm going to take the Clippers.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take the Clips, too. Man, as always, it's a pleasure. This is your Thunder cover from NewsOK.com and the Oklahoman's Darnell Mayberry, Oklahoma City Thunder beat writer. Nobody covered him as well. Writes and talks about him as well as Darnell Mayberry. Man, always a pleasure. We'll talk on Wednesday.
All right, guys. Take care.
31 past the hour, hanging out here at Buy for Less in Norman, 2501 East Lindsay, here for the Corona Light Rush Tour. Great giveaways to give you. Come by, check them out. Great deals going on Corona and Corona Light bottles, 12 packs and 24 packs alike. 32 past the hour. You're listening to The Rush on the Sports Talk Network.